Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, yeah. Let's go now. When the night feels heavy and the stars seem dim, there's a spark of courage deep within. A hand to hold, a word that's kind, can lift a heart and ease a mind. Light the way with hope, let kindness grow in every step. Let the good vibes flow. Together we rise with a brighter day. Hearts full of love, we'll light the way. When the road is winding and dreams feel far, a simple smile can be our star. Plant a seed of joy, let it bloom. Turn a fleeting hope into a tune. Every soul's a light, every heart's a flame. No one's too small to change the game. With open hands, we'll face the dawn. Together we'll keep the fire on. Light the way with hope. Let kindness grow in every step. Let the good vibes flow. Together we rise.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Aloha Friday, and happy Aloha Friday, guys. We have made it to the end of the weekend. We are here. It is time to relax and chill with the founders of the DGC, as I see them tracking on radar right now, guys. But before we even get them in, we're going to get my wife in the studio. D, how are you?
Well, I am so pumped up, Hinano. Woo! Let's
Get
go.
pumped. Get pumped.
Pump up your chair too, by the way. Anyway,
Stop it.
happy Aloha Friday to everybody. And yeah, it's been a while since you've been on.
It has, guys. I've
On stream.
somebody messaged me like, "Where you been?" I'm like, "I've actually been off island. I've been on a business trip. I literally got back last night, last flight, and then the boss over there, I think she's that way or whatever. She started putting me to work, guys. I didn't go to bed till like 2 a.m. So, yeah, good to be back. In the good old TRU building here. But how are you today, D?
I'm good. Yeah, this week has been really awesome. Lots of great things happening in the space.
Yeah.
And just seeing a lot of people, progressing with whatever, like their business or projects themselves. And it's just good to see on the timeline and be able to, share in that good news with people. And yeah, it's been a good week. So I'm looking forward to the weekend after this. Yeah, it's too windy for a garage sale. That was my plan originally. Was to have a garage sale tomorrow, but then I watched the news. I'm like, yeah, I don't think anything's gonna be just like, everything's gonna be flying off the table. But anyway,
we're in Oz.
yeah. But anyway, what about you, Hinano? Are you ready to be back and do more work?
I'm a bit rusty, not NGL. I'm a bit rusty, but you know what? It's all about rolling with the punches in life. So, you know me, I don't shy away from anything. But D, who's the sponsor tonight and who's sponsoring the giveaway?
Who's sponsoring the giveaway, you ask? Well, TRU. It's TRU. TRU Services. Yes, we are. Well, not we. Yes, we are sponsoring the giveaway. TRU Media Group. And our awesome team members. There's one in the chats, and one is probably lurking in somewhere.
He's lurking. He's always lurking. Here, guys. He's an all-seeing eye. And shout out to Raven in the chat. She is moderating today, guys. Give her a hi. Give her a smile. Well, basically, Tell her you're smiling to her in text. But yes, shout out to Raven over there. But guys, yes, we are going to be giving away one of our TRU services. And so this is how it's going to go. It's very beneficial for either you're a content creator or if you're just a community member. If you're a community member, well, if you win, then we are going to produce you 3 tracks of whatever you want, whatever style, whatever song you want. I know everyone's music lovers here. Those tracks you will own full commercial rights to. We will work with you on curating the whole thing because this is part of the services that we are planning to provide. And that is something that we're going to have to be talking about, not today, but a little bit later. So that's one thing for the community members. If you want to have a track created by TRU Media, and like I tell you right now, it can be any genre. Well, maybe not like a foreign language. It might be tough, but we'll try. And now, if you're a content creator or project out here, we are also giving away a free ad. Now, if you guys have watched virtual radio, we've done many ads. If you've seen on the timeline, we've done many ads. We will work with these projects or content creators to produce a TRU Media ad. You will have full commercial rights where you can play it on your YouTube channel, X, Spotify, wherever you stream. So those are the 2 things that we're going to give away. If you're a community member, you're going to get a curated song from us that you'll be able to release whatever platform, iTunes. You can sell it if you want. Or, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying. Or you will get an ad from us. So, guys, look out for that. I will get the hashtag in the chats as soon as we get the founders from the DGC in. And I believe we have Daniel, Chris, as well as Denis. And now Denis we have not seen in, I think, 2.5 years. So it's good to have him back. Daniel and Chris have been on the channel a few times. And then also shout out to Scotchy. He was not able to make it because I don't blame him. He should be sleeping. Daniel, I think, is turning into a pumpkin. We'll have to see. We'll find out. We're going to be beaming them in very shortly. I see them tracking in. D, anything else that you want to talk about before we get started?
No, I think you did a great job coming back into the show with lots of energy. So yeah, really good introduction, and can't wait to get them on and just talk story with them, and get to know more about their endeavors, which is really exciting. Yeah, I'm excited.
I think we should just get it started, guys. So without further ado, I see them on tracking. Now we're gonna try multiple beamings here, so I hope we don't have a space moment. If one of you guys have a smaller hand, grab my strong hand. What movie is that from, right? Right? Anyways, bad joke. We'll be right back.
Fire up the machine, full power.
Thought I'd never find the day broken down, but I'm not done. Picking up the pieces one by one, rising up stronger than before. I'm finding me, I'm something more.
Connection established. Incoming guests.
I'm something more.
Ladies and gentlemen, the founders of the DGC, missing one person. We got Chris, Denis, and Daniel. What is up, gentlemen? Thank you for joining us. Happy Aloha Friday.
Aloha. Aloha.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for having us. Daniel, thank you for getting up.
He's like, yeah, sure, right.
I've got plenty of this, so yeah, we can go late.
Let's go. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. And like I said, Daniel is up very late. So, I really appreciate you guys for giving us your time. We're no strangers from each other. We've all known each other for very long on the timeline. So I'm really going to be enjoying this conversation. And I told Chris, we're going to try to keep this under 6 hours. Last time you got us together, I think it was last year in Maui. It was longer than 6 hours.
So 5.5 today, 5.5.
That was a day, but yeah, guys, it's so good to have you here, and I'm just gonna jump right in. The DGC. Before we get into the business per se and what you guys do, I kind of want to really kind of start from the very beginning, and let me kind of frame this question because I think there's synergies between the DGC as well as TRU Media. And Chris, I hope you don't mind me kind of at least mentioning this. About 6 months ago when I reached out to you in a DM. I reached out to Chris in a DM because 6 months ago is when we really started being very serious on what we wanted to do here at True Media. And I value Chris's opinion, and I kind of gave him the insight of what we're trying to do here. Well, after I had that conversation with him, it motivated me and this team to actually make this happen. So besides that DM and all these other things, the building blocks it takes to build something and to be proud of what you build, if it wasn't for that interaction amongst many, I don't think we would have been here. And so that's part of our journey. Now, today's not about our journey, but I wanted to really frame that question for you folks, because my question for you folks is, what was that aha moment? What inspired you guys to start this? I know you guys are all mint hunters. You guys love collecting digital. We're all fans of Vivi. We love comic books. So that kind of like is all part of the fun and passion to this. But it's not just that, right? Like to start a business, to actually frame something, do it right. So where it's like not only it's something beneficial, opportunistic, as well as lucrative, but it's also something that you can be proud of. So can you guys kind of start from the beginning, how you guys all came together? Because I find this is a very interesting and awesome group that formed this. And we'll start with you, Daniel.
Yeah, well, I can probably offer the perfect segue in for Chris and Denny and how it maybe started with them, because I think they probably started it way back. So obviously Chris and I have known each other now for a solid, I think probably a good couple of years, isn't it, Chris? Talking about special mints and just all of that sort of domain that we really enjoy. And then it wasn't until we probably back end of last year I did my personal rebrand of California Comics, which again, similar to yourself, Dee and Hinano, I sort of approached Chris and got his take on it, a few sort of business ideas of what I was considering. And then when the Viviverse launched, we did the whole built out a little store, and I just said to Chris, like, do you fancy buying the first comic from the Viviverse from a digital store? And that turns out that's actually the first ever in a metaverse that we're aware of. So but then off the back of that, I said to Chris, and again, this is probably the secret sauce you try and keep to yourself, even though you've got trusted contacts like that. If you ever thought about digital grading? And Chris was like, well, me and Denny have been thinking about it for about 3 years. And that was the initial, I suppose. That was the initial interaction that Chris and I had. So I suppose I can hand over to Chris, because he's got 3 years of talks with Denny, what they were talking beforehand, and then we can fast forward to I suppose what's happened over the past few months.
Love it.
Perfect
Intro.
Thank you, Daniel.
And Hinano D, hats off to you two guys as well. My bad hair showing, but wonderful thing you just said. I had no idea the impact on that, but you guys have just done a fantastic job. You have so many shows now, so many different things happening. It's just wonderful to see this. And
thank you.
I mean, I'm a testament to knowing all of you on this stream and the people that are watching. Hello. I mean, this is a community that was brought together from something that didn't exist 5 years ago. And it's been a magical journey. I can't believe 5 years has gone by. A couple of years, I think, since Denis and I were last on your stream too. It's amazing how it just rolls, right?
Yeah. It was like yesterday, right?
Like yesterday. Yes. Right? So, and I got a shout out to Toronto Blue Jays for any Canadian fans watching.
Yeah. Well, our favorite bird's probably cheering with you.
I'm just trying to get there, Ravens on there, and I've seen a few people in the chats already. But so I do have the game on in the background. I am taping it, to use an old 80s term, and I have a sports highlight behind me. So if anyone ever sees me doing this, I'm just keeping up with us. But, big day for Canadians, right? It's been about 32 years since the Jays have been in the World Series. So
wow, big day.
Time to be a Canadian. Yeah, it's like the Olympics. But yeah, it's boy. I mean, I met Denis through Vivi, and we've suddenly realized how close we actually live together. And like all great ideas, it's like, well, let's go have a beer and talk about this. And so we met at some local pubs, and we started getting into this. And some people have heard me say this, right? Very early on, Comics and Crypto did a wonderful thing and created the first guide. And boy, did they take some heat for that. Right? So they kind of got a little bit of that out of the way, but the premise made perfect sense, right? Vivi came to market with giving bonus points for low mints. And then they tried to connect that somehow with a physical grading guide. And when Denis and I met, we were kind of talking about that, saying this is really important. But then, you know, what if I had a 1962 Spider-Man, the FA of Mr. Peter Parker? To most in that grading system, suddenly that's going to rank is, you know, like a 2000 something mint, not really all that impactful. And then we started saying, yeah, you know, why does Vivi put the mint number as a stamp on the collectible? It's front and center. It has to have some meaning. Oh, and yeah, by the way, these things are also blockchain minted. And so there's verification, proof of ownership and purchase. And all these things came together. And we kind of, I'm saying this right, Denis, you know, we sort of knocked heads and said, how do we get away from the herd, you know, with what everybody's doing and chasing, and how do we be a little more unique in this space? Because comic book collecting is a niche industry within an industry. It's not the industry. And so how could we be even more niche on that scale? And so that's kind of how we started talking about mint numbers, which are also referred to as edition numbers, right? We'll get some commentary, I'm sure, on that. But that was almost 4 years ago now. We started doing that. And then the 1962, several days after we'd had this chat, the 1962 Amazing Spider-Man number 4 showed up. And we talked to each other and said, how about we go halfers onto that? And that was the first real solidification that we're doing this and we're all in. And then skip forward another year or two, and I started following this Viva La Vivi, and this gentleman was grabbing incredible numbers and posting them on socials. I'm like, I gotta follow this guy, and holy smokes. And next thing you know, we start DMing back and forth. And to Daniel's point, then he asked me a question a little while back, and he said, what do you think about grading? And Denis is just a master of research and history, understands the comic space inside and out. And we'd always talked about how could these things be graded to add more value. And after what Comics and Crypto had done, then we said, yeah, this is something compelling. And so we started chatting, and next thing you know, over the past year or two, we've been building this entity to come to market, and with a very simple goal. I hate it when I see people post things in the marketplace, and then several hours or days later, they're crying about it on socials because they realize what they just gave away and decided not to do the homework, check out their numbers. It's so much easier now. You can ask Grok, you can ask Chat, you can ask Google, what does this number mean in terms of Marvel Comics or the history or whatever? And we thought, boy, if we can educate just a few people on some numbers have specific value, some have incredible value, and not a lot of people knew that, because the standard is very low mint, last mint, which are beautiful. Do not get me wrong. I love those. They are fantastic. But if I say July 63, that's a very big day for a lot of X-Men or Avenger fans type of thing, in August 63 and whatnot. A 7063 could have very deep meaning to somebody that wants to connect these things. And that was being missed. And it's a weakness currently in the VV market where you can't describe what you're selling. There's a limitation there. Like in Facebook Marketplace, I can put photos up of my asset. I can describe it. I can tell all kinds of things to help the potential buyer understand why I'm asking that price. We don't have that. And so what do? We go to social media, we try to ping somebody within the app, and that doesn't always work. And so this system was to help provide a little bit more awareness and potentially some value add to a platform that we just enjoy participating in still after all these years. And so that's my little 2-3, probably 5-minute intro there. So
yeah, as far as me, I'm pretty much the same, same journey. Chris kind of figured out the game a little earlier than I did. I was strictly kind of looking for 3 digits or low mint numbers because everybody was chasing that. But
Mhm.
so, and then we met through I think some sort of online chat with YouTube chat with my collectibles. We
That's
were
right.
kind of at the time he was kind of running some contest that you could kind of win, um, collectibles or comics, and of course at that time the transfer option was available to all. You could transfer everything. So, but yeah, the realization about the mint number, to trying to find a way to differentiate one images to the other, and you can say that they're JPEGs, but they're more than JPEGs. They're actually on the blockchain, and they're all brand new, right? So nothing, there's no defect on it. They're all new. So some people would argue, well, why is mine not a 10.0 versus another? How do you differentiate the two? And then about almost 4 years ago, I think Chris and I were working on a spreadsheet, and we're already at it, kind of thing. And we're sometimes at times we were chatting, I don't know how many times a day, when things was kind of running hot everywhere, a lot, and then going back and forth. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? So we've been at it for a long time, and we're still at it to a certain extent. Unlike grading physical book, which is basically you're grading the physical aspect of the comic book, which, in my opinion, anybody that grades a book can grade any book, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a manuscript. You don't need to have knowledge of what's inside. It's only the physical part of it. And I always tell our group, our within our group, I said, we have a tough job because we're just grading based on the historical part of what's inside about characters and stuff. That's even harder, in a way, more complex than somebody that grades a physical book. I'm not saying a physical book, grading a physical book is easy, but what I'm saying, you don't need to have knowledge of the content creator. You don't need to have knowledge of the characters. You don't need knowledge about the artist and when it was made. Versus we have to deal with all of that. So it adds an element of complexity, but we feel confident in the grading system that we have. So anyways, that's something that probably Daniel's going to talk a little bit more about it, but yeah, that's my journey as well.
I'll touch on that really quick too, because it's an enormous point, and 90% of the, let's just call it non-positive feedback, is centered around, you can't grade digital assets. What are you guys doing? This doesn't make any sense. And what Denis just described is so much deeper than the physical grading. I mean, I have physical graded assets. I have all kinds, not just comic books. I have all kinds of things, and they are graded on a very finite standard set of issuance of a problem, right? A bent page, a yellowed page, a missing page, someone drew pen on it. You don't have to necessarily know what's inside. Now, you usually do if you're, CGC and that type of thing. Of course you would, but the physical elements are a lot different than the intrinsic elements. And trust me, we're getting all kinds of people asking all kinds of questions, and it's great because it challenges us as well, because we have a very sophisticated system in place to go through this. But yeah, the birth date of Stan Lee is important. The birth date of George Lucas is important. If you're a Star Wars fan, right, you're going to know what May 44 means. You're going to know what May 77 means. You're going to know what 1971 means. You're going to know what 1976 means. If you're a Ralph McQuarrie fan, you're going to know what 1975 means. And if you actually have, I think it's Charlie Fisher's got like the 1977, there's a Book of Boba Fett #1 with the white, the Boba Fett prototype helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from a Star Wars perspective, that's such an amazing piece. But Ralph McQuarrie might have drawn that on a very specific date and registered the date of that drawing. So we want to get into the research on what is the significance of that. It's got nothing to do with the physical. Sure, it's a secret rare and it's a beautiful cover and it's scarce. So those are other additions that help its market value, but not necessarily its mint value. And so we have to make sure that that feature is made as well, because it's very important as to how we're setting these things up and why you might receive a certain grade over something else. But it's very sophisticated. And I think if I'm speaking on behalf of the team, it's the thing that we really enjoy, because it's what we found so much attraction to Vivi in the first place, where we could go into the marketplace and hunt for mints. And I remember there was a time, right, when all of a sudden things weren't selling out anymore, because I mean, there's just a lot of things to buy now, so you can't keep up with all of it, right? But the ability to go into a marketplace and then hunt for something that has very special meaning, you know, Ben CF goes after is it the 1987 or the 87 mints, you know, it's birthday. Yeah. It makes perfect sense to have that as a collectible and then build a set out and potentially be rewarded for holding sets and all the different things that we can do that are a little more challenging in the physical world. We hope this is the goal, is to enhance the collectability of digital assets, make them fun, continue to increase that enjoyment of this, because it is still a new space and it's growing, and it's going to keep growing for probably the next 20 years until you see some sort of level of stability. But hey, if we can be a part of that early on and sharing the excitement, that's what we're doing. So
yeah, and I just need to add to that, I don't enjoy the grading process. You know, I like building the slabs and opening them up before anyone else sees them, and that feels like Christmas morning. But yeah, like we had yesterday, I know it was a couple of days ago, we graded the Bluegrass stamp, mint edition number 1946. So we ended up going down the rabbit hole of looking at the back history of bluegrass genres and music, and then 1946 ended up being the Genesis year, so it was the first official band creation that had that music as which they played. So a very important year, and the owner was obviously recognized that, hence why they owned it. So I think it broadens your knowledge in so many ways, which is quite exciting. And anything we do like that becomes part of our database of knowing that if we get a stamp of that nature, or even if it's USPS, where we've got records that we can tap into there, it's just incredibly useful for us. So yeah, and this is where Denny and Chris, I think they're probably more our grading masters, and Scotchy as well. Just to mention Scotchy's input, he is someone that we were all individually friends with anyway on X and in our space. And if anyone, I'm sure probably does know Scotchy, very generous individual, really, really great special mint collector. So part of our conversation was just that, you know, there's this guy, we know him, we know he's into it. Should we just ask him, does he know about grading? And he was doing his own thing as well. So it just was ended up being a perfect marriage, if that's the right word to use, between all four of us. So
I like that. I want to add something here real quick, because like, you know, when you start something new or you start something that'll shake up the space, and Chris and I have had conversations about being first in something, right? Regardless of what you do. And as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen anyone necessarily launch something like this in terms of bringing a product to market, in terms of finding a market, right? And that's, in the end, you know, everyone's going to criticize what you do, depending, like, you know, who the detractors are, whether you have a competition or whether you just have somebody that just wants to yell at the wall, right? You're going to have that, right? We have it as well. But at the end of the day, do you have a market? Well, you guys have a market. I see it in the chat right now. So there's that as well. But to kind of like frame what you guys are doing, you kind of have to like traverse all of that. And I don't want to call it FUD, right? You call it obstacles in your way, right? And so when you're doing that, I'm getting to a point here, guys, when you're trying something new, you've never done it before, regardless on how you see the overlay platforms are doing it, like blockchain, you know, there's all this tech out here. You should do it that way. You should do it this way. At the end of the day, if you're starting something new, you're trying to find a market, you have a product, and you are willing to try to make it work. I think that's what matters. And that's what I love. What I just heard you guys all say is you guys are passionate what you guys love right here with the collecting. I mean, from the start, right? When you guys first bought your comic book to where, you know, Daniel's explaining like how he loves to do the development side, right? There's a lot of synergies in your story in terms of what you guys said and what we're doing as well. And so I can understand that. And I'm just asking the audience now, whenever you see something like this, people like the DGC or whoever else, there's going to be a new product out there. You may not like it. You may not like the way they're doing it. They talked about their grading system. That's their secret sauce. It's their under the hood type of method of madness. It's the same thing here, Chris. You know, so much people are like, Hinano, how'd you make that? How'd you make that? Share your prompt. Share your prompt. It's like, do you know when you're prompting, if you actually create a prompt and you have a workflow that starts from one prompt and it spans in like 25, that's a lot of work you put in. Nights, right? And that's not something you're willing to give up just because you should, right? And so that's the thing, right? You guys are starting a business. You guys are starting an opportunity. The same thing here. And I just want the audience to really understand that framework that this is their thing. This is their jive. They have a market. They know what they're doing. And I have a pretty understanding of where this is going to go here. Dee, you want to add anything to this?
I'm just really enjoying the conversation. I love your guys' backstory on how you all came together and just working together to create, you know, this beautiful thing, a beautiful project that you guys are a part of. And I just wish you guys all the best. I'm just really curious, and we'll probably get more into it later, but I'm just curious on like the slab creating part of it, like what, like the idea. I mean, because we all know what a slab looks like, but what was like the whole process of like creating your own slab and, you know, making it special, making it your own kind of thing, to have like your own like touch, your own signature on it kind of thing. So I don't know if you wanted to head that way, you know, or just we can come back to that later.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I mean, like the dev side, like this is how it goes here, and you guys know this already. We'll bounce around and all that stuff. That's what makes the conversation so organic. And I'm a developer for our side too. So Daniel, I'm super and like I said, guys, they have a secret sauce under the hood, and so I don't expect them giving us the whole entire candy shop here. But like, kind of give us the example, as Dee said, like, you know, the development process as best as you can give us on the surface. And also, I'm sure it makes you feel good, Daniel, or whoever else makes these developments. And let me give you an example. Is like whenever I make anything here and it actually looks good, or I'm very happy with it, or maybe I'm not happy with it, but I got to push it out anyway. I'm just really proud of the things that I make. So, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, isn't there, what's the expression? Is it like drink your own Kool-Aid? Is that an expression that's now?
It is now. I like that.
Yeah, it feels like we do that all the time, because we create something. I like to think we're all probably modest in our group, but we create it and we have to just sit back and marvel at it at times, because I think it's because we know we're creating something so brand new as well, that sort of adds a dimension to it. But when we were starting doing the build phase and getting ready to, this was pre-launch, this was getting, you know, some of the initial building blocks in place. We looked at ways how we could bring the slab, say, as a creation. So we were looking at outsourcing that, because, to be blunt, we didn't have the tech support, we didn't really have the tech skill internally. So we had a look at that, and it just wouldn't have really been viable from a business standpoint if we were outsourcing. Is the harsh reality. The cost to have something slabbed is just quite significant. So we upskilled and upgraded so we can do all this internally. So we use 3D asset building software. Nothing's done through AI, so we do this all, you know, I say manually, obviously, with the kit we use. So we put these together. So we create our templates for the slab, for the artwork, for the stamps, etc. And then I think it was actually probably surprisingly easily coming up with the actual design of the label. And credit to Scotchy, he was the one that went away, put a few templates together, and I think it was probably on our 5th attempt. It was like, yeah, that works. You know, it's digital themed. we knew we'd have the color coding aspect into it, which was something we can come on to. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris and Denny, I think that was quite an easy sign off, surprisingly, especially when there's 4 of us involved and we all probably got our own little creative critiques in.
Yeah.
And then the bringing on the grading card. So I don't know if you've seen this. So if someone goes and creates, again, whether it's a stamp or a comic, we would have it in its 3D slab formation. We wanted to have a DGC certificate of authenticity to go along with that. So we looked at designs where it would be very traditional certificate, something that would be backed up by a QR code that could link to the site to show the proof. But then it was actually Denny, I want to say, who put a screenshot of as just an idea, and it was like we looked at it and it was like, well, why don't we create it? It was almost like a trading card stroke grading card, and that can complement the slab. So we think that's going to add another. We've got a few exciting features that's going to come about how we can integrate this within an app. And then how the actual grading cards can be part of our reward system. So again, yeah, something we just come up with, created and done it internally.
That's super cool. I love that. And there's some careful thought into that. So I kind of want to know, and this is a question I kind of ask anybody, or this is a question I like to ask the people that work in different projects, is like, kind of give us a day in the life of the DGC. Now, I'll give you an example and I'll frame the question. The day in the life of the TRU over here. Every Fridays we have a meeting, you know, we talk the water cooler talk, you know, Raven will talk about, no, I'm just kidding. We get together, we kind of brainstorm, you know, we're pretty much all co-producers in our rights of what we do here, but we all have our individual talents and we all kind of bring something different to the table, whether it's hosting, creating, animating, producing, or even doing other things of that sort, right? So kind of give us like the day in the life of the DGC, you know, what's your guys' roles in it, and yeah, kind of give us the workflow there.
Yeah, well, I'll add one quick part to that, and I'll hand it over to Chris and Denny. But we're so originally we were going to go take this and launch back end of the year, early 2026. So we're ahead of schedule, and because of that, some of our assets, like our website, we're going to have a grading census database, or something similar to maybe like Go Collect, where you can go on there and you can pick up an item and then you can see what grades have been achieved and what dates, etc. So things like that, we were a little bit, I won't say behind, but they're just going to be coming in due course. So at the moment, we're heavily building with a lot of different new products, some customizations, some things we can touch on a bit later as well. So we're very much back and forth on that, which is great because it's exciting, as you know, in terms of building a new business or a new product. It gives, you know, there's a lot of creativity that's going around the room and a lot of ideas. But at the same time, and something we really didn't anticipate. So when we launched, we did it on the principle that we'd have no submissions. We've got 7 years worth of back book to grade, and we could put out 3 grades a day. So we knew we could really go for that period, not take a penny, and as long as our passion was still there, which it would be, we could maintain DGC for 7 years. But we were inundated, which was good. And this past week is testament to that. We've had over 30 submissions to grade. Some are giveaways. We've actually had a number that we've actually just had to say we've had like a bulk orders. We've had 3 individuals who are quite established in the space. We've put bulk orders in, and we've just said we're going to come back to that and work through. Mm-hmm. So I suppose we're doing what we could call our grading day job, where we get an item in. It might not necessarily have a set grade on our formula at the moment, so that's where we put it into our team. I think Spencer on Comics and Crypto referred to us almost like a grading council. So we put it in our group chat, or as Chris would prefer, on email. He said that a few times. We've got 3 chats on
email.
Yeah, and then
I'm the same way, Daniel.
Yeah, we will just say, right, we've got this one, here's the backstory, here's the notes, and then we'll all give some feedback until we conclude where it will grade. So yeah, I suppose a day in the life of DGC at the moment is a bit of everything. It's intense, but it's fun.
And apparently it's 24 hours too. Daniel, you're up, right? So
But that shows the
Right, awesome.
dedication, and I really wanted to frame this because I want the audience to really understand what you guys are doing. I want them to kind of really see you guys as the human beings behind the company, right? It's very important that we see why people do the things that we do. And I mean, now Daniel, I'm going to go back to you. You're a father just like me, so you're juggling this while also doing your day job. And I feel you on this because Dee can attest to this. I don't get sleep. I don't even know what that is. I'm like you. I'd be up at 3 a.m. If someone wanted me to be in an interview, I'd be doing the same thing, or I'll be developing, getting stuff ready. Like even that little intro that I brought you guys in. I did that at like 2 a.m. because it just flew in last night, and I wasn't here all week, and I didn't have my gear. So like, but then that's the passion, right? It's the dedication. Now I kind of want to go to the. Actually, I'll go to you, Chris, because there's another question I want to ask after. And I just cut off my wife. So wife, then Chris, wife.
Can I just say one thing on that? Actually?
Yeah.
So my wife said to me, because I've got my in real life business and I cook a lot of hours there, and she was saying like you should slow it down and just I do the school run. I've got all of that going on as well. And she's like, maybe you should do less. Better start up a digital grading company then. So that's what we did. So I think probably like all of us here, I can't sit still. I want to progress and build. So yeah. So sorry.
Yeah. No. And I feel you, man. You see, that's the thing, right? Like, I feel the passion that you guys are exuberating right now. You guys are expressing this, and I love that. It's important. The connection part between why you guys do this and also your personal lives. Like we're not fighting about your tax bracket or your family life, but the fact that you guys are human beings behind the walls. You have a day job, but as well you have kids. You all have families, right? I know you guys all have families. So this is not only a passion, but it's something that you guys are really, really focused on, and I love that. Go ahead, Dee.
I kind of okay, yeah. I was just gonna touch on when you guys were talking about no sleep and stuff. Like especially with the different time zones as well. You gotta, get together with your team at hopefully a reasonable hour. But what is reasonable anymore? And just work that out. But I feel like, and it's similar to like what we have here at True Media is like when we get together, like our team gets together and someone has an idea, we kind of bounce off ideas and grow that one idea, and it's like all of a sudden at the end of the meeting it's like, oh shoot, we have like so many ideas. And what's really great about having a really good team is they also like motivate you, like even though you're tired or whatever, you still want to like just create and just make stuff, and just like be out there because you're so like amped up when you get together and talk together that it's I don't know, it's a great feeling to have, and so I can like relate kind of similarly with you guys as well. So yeah, great job.
We do everything by committee, and we don't always agree, right? And that's part of it, right? We are sometimes I'll say flat out on some of our communication, I'm playing a little bit devil advocates here. What if? And then sometimes it kind of makes the other person realize, oh, okay, I've never thought about that. And generally, those conversations is more about the mint itself, the mint number, where does it fit, and so on. So yeah, it's definitely done by committee. It's not been done by one, and we're not all saying yes to everything. So, which is kind of good because that's basically shows that we're kind of evolving in the right direction in the end.
Yeah, evolving, and you have like multiple different like brains and levels of like creativity. It's not, I mean, if you're all just the same, it'll be just like you're talking to a multiple of yourself, and that's not always fun. So yeah, it's good to have diversity, and that and you feed off each other and just learn what works and what doesn't work. Yeah,
and it's I give a shout out to the team as well. I think Raven just loves her team, right? I mean, it's It's why the Blue Jays are doing what they're doing tonight. That team loves each other. I'm just going to throw that out there again, right?
You know, it's important though, right? It's important to have a cohesive team and also enjoy the people that you're working with, right? And like and so like for us, we kind of like fell into this like just because of, you know, D and I just podcasting, right? Like a great example is we like to joke around. Biggest Bro has been the longest employee. We never hired him. Somehow he hired himself, and then he never left. You know what I mean? And we're so glad he didn't leave, right? And then Raven, she was our very first Discord mod. Yes, Josh, we had her first. But you know, and that just kind of worked out. So this is all kind of like these things just happened just because, right? But at the end of the day, it fit like a glove. And if it fits, wear it, right? And walk and see how far you can walk, right? Go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, I'm agreeing with you. It's so important, right? Because we're really navigating an industry and a technology that is so new. We always talk about, you know, when mainstream, right? Like most people still don't know what NFTs are, or they run from them. Blockchain sounds confusing and scary. You can dumb it right down and simplify it. But at the end of the day, you still have a factor where you've got a global population that's used to collecting one way. And this is creeping away at that a little bit. And yeah, it can be terrifying. It could be frustrating. You know, well, what are you saying? My physical graded comic book is losing its value because now this digital piece is replacing it? No. And I think that's a really key part of our team, right? We've got some very young, solid talent that understands this space. There's some older talent, you know, I've kind of grown up in the you know, and it's partly why, like when we came to the design of the grades, you know, as you're seeing on the slab on the screen here, it's like, well, let's do something that's kind of a mix, right? Like you've got something that's very consistent, recognizable to the entire space that knows this is a slab and it's probably got a grade in it. But then what we can put in that grade, what we can put on the back, and you might not know if everybody, right? But VV doesn't put anything on the outside back covers of their comic books, for instance. That gave us some territory to use. We've got information that we put in our grades that is not the same as what you would find in a physical grade. These are unique assets. There's some new features and technology that's coming that as the system and space advances, so too shall we. You know, physical grading has been very standardized for a great number of years. But I also remind people that come to us and say, well, what are you guys doing? This doesn't make any sense. It's like CGC didn't start till 2001? Like they've only been around for 25 years. That's still a brand new industry. So comparatively, right? You know, many out there, but it's still new, and their product advancement and rate of adoption and all that type of stuff that comes into any business growing has some finite things. You can only do so much, right? So now you've got new entrants coming in like PSA and whatnot that are kind of going after that. And we're saying, well, let's just do something completely unique. And I know Danielle, we wrote a Go Collect blog, you know, about the launch of California Comics and whatnot, and how that's the first metaverse comic book store in history. There will never be another first, right? And so that was another really big kudos and high five to getting that put together and put out. But that didn't exist before. And even though Meta, right, if anyone's forgotten, that company used to be called Facebook. Right? We still call it Facebook for the most part. But they changed their brand. Why would they change their brand to something called Meta? Well, they know where we're going to be in 5 or 10 years, right? Read the macro of the room. Follow where the big picture is pointed. And if you can start becoming part of that journey along the way in the early phase, again, I give Daniel a lot of credit, and then the team, we all bought in. We got to be first. We got to get out a little sooner than we planned, because we wouldn't have been the first in short order. There were others that were going to do this. And what we felt incredibly important was that the people that should be launching a digital grading company in VV and any other platforms that we can eventually work with had to understand the space, had to be serious collectors, had to be mint hunters, had to have experience with the app, had to have comic experience, had to have blockchain experience, had to know what all this meant. And we weren't 100% sure that, you know, anyone else that maybe tried to do this too quickly would understand that. And so we're coming at it from the consumer space, the users and the buyers and the holders of the assets that we so love. We wanted to represent them. And I think that was where the passion of this team really kind of jumped in. As far as the, you know, a day in the life, yeah, it's always on. It's very busy. There's enormous amounts of communication and discussion amongst us, but you need to have that so that what we present back to the customer, the, you know, the person that wants to experience this, has a good experience. And I've been a little quiet of late. You know, I'm building a new business myself outside of this, also family responsibilities, you know, kids in sports and school and all that kind of stuff. You got a house to run, you know, these are challenges that everybody faces, but the community has been incredibly supportive behind us. And so that's also something that continues to rally, continues to keep us excited, continues to keep us focused on trying new things and doing new things. And so that's kind of the day in the life and how we got here again. And I keep talking about this. I get damned excited.
Yeah.
Well, let me go ahead.
Just to answer a question from the comic book guy, which sort of feeds into this as well. So he mentioned about how do we stand with IPs and Vivi, for example. So last night, this is UK time, I had a call at 10:30 p.m. regarding this. I had a call at 10 a.m. this morning regarding this. Call at 10:30 p.m. regarding this. Me and Chris jumped on a call with a team at 6 p.m. regarding this. So our due diligence was done prior and is still being done now. So in terms of this, like terms of service and whatnot, I will say we're really good. And what you're seeing here, these are going on chain. So that was a question we were getting asked a lot at the start. So these are not going to be your typical JPEGs. These are going to be actually on chain, and these are going to be on an app. So that's all in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at the heart of it too, we want the brands and the IP to benefit from this. We don't want them feeling this is counterintuitive, competitive, thunder stealing and all that. They're as much a part of this as anyone else. And, you know, I mean, shout out to where the industry has come from. Really, what did David and Dan do 5 years ago with a PowerPoint deck to convince some of these teams to participate? And it's going to keep growing and improving. And if we can help the brands continue to enjoy being in this space themselves, we want more brands to be here. We want more partners, more books being released. You know, anything that's happening in the space, I still think is positive. It's horrible to see when things don't go right. Of course, like any new industry, there's going to be winners and losers. And for those of you that are old enough to remember, you know, there was a time in the late 90s when people were doing elevator pitches with ideas about how they can run an internet business, and 90% of them failed. The challenge we had back then, and I've said this many times, the technology wasn't quite at the level that those companies needed to execute those ideas. Today, the technology is now with us. It's strong. It's proven. I know AWS went down the other day. That was not good, but a momentary hiccup in time that was recovered and everything went back to normal as if it was just a minor hiccup, right? And so we didn't have those types of luxuries back in the day. You know, used to dial a rotary phone and hope like heck that somebody was at their house to answer the phone. Didn't know. So
if not, you're riding your bike there.
Well, that, right? Getting the BMX bike, and if everyone else's BMX bikes were in the yard, okay, I could probably get in there, right? But today that the tech is relatively available. It's just how do you use it, deploy it, how do you standardize it so that an audience would be entertained by it and want to participate, and that's where we are now. And so, yeah, I mean, shout out to the team and Scotchy and the guys for really putting some of these creative ideas and concepts together, because they're, at the end of the day, I struggled with Vivi because, you know, I got a lot of assets in my phone, for instance, but they're not necessarily easy to organize. It's not necessarily easy to just, you know, oh, I've got this great cover with a great mint number. How can we enhance that? How can we augment that so that the experience of owning the asset is even more enjoyable than it was before? And as we roll forward and more capabilities, getting into things like metaverses and the Viviverse and all that, and, you know, we can start to transition some of these into people's showrooms. Again, right? It's just another way. I'm going to shout you out too, Denis, because I know a few years back we did a Zoom call, I think it was, and I saw I think it was your home office there where you had so many of those beautiful slabs and all that. It's showrooming, right? I mean, part of you either collect and hide everything you have, or you collect and you want to show off what you have. And when people come over to the house, right? I mean, I know I show off my first D and Henano graded, my Daredevil, right? The thing, I just love showing that piece. It's a beautiful book. It's slabbed, it's graded, it's 9.8, you know, it's Daredevil 1. Thank you again, right? But
Of course,
those types of things you want to show off. And now I get asked this all the time, like, well, you know, you're not the youngest tool in the shed, you know, like, who do you tell about all this to? You know, and I'm like, the guys I play beer league hockey with, some will be telling me like, oh my God, yeah, did you hear this? They're re-releasing this, or what do you think of that new movie? And oh my God, yeah, is Empire still your favorite? I'm like, yeah. And hey, check this out now. And you just show one person a 3D animated, you know, this is an NFT. No, that's not. That's not an NFT. What the hell is that you're showing me? It's an NFT. Right? Because you say the word NFT, you think 2D monkeys, right? I mean, it's just how the industry and how the mainstream media decided to latch on for some reason.
I think of a rock, Chris. So
yeah. But they're not quite there yet when it comes to showcasing what is actually happening. And I've said this many, many a time, right? When that day comes, when the IP are like, we are fully in now, the narrative is good, we don't have to face the backlash, the technology is solid, you're going to get into that, you know, the old adoption curve, right? Early entrants, and then the intermediaries, and then the mainstream masses, right? You won't even think of it as an NFT or whatever the tech is. You're just going to say it's a digital asset, it's a digital collectible, or it's a collectible. You won't even probably define whether it's digital. It's just part of your collecting experience. And that's when the IPs will get in. They will start saying, hey, guess what? We're dropping this, or this is available over here. I think right now, I mean, a lot of test markets are long-term, right? If this is the tech that's going to, let's just call it Internet 3.0. It's just a better pipe than what we have available right now, right? These new pipes have to get dug underground, laid, tested, proven, solidified. It takes years. But once they're ready, you build neighborhoods on top of a water line, right? And so that same mentality is coming. It's just we're going through the build process. And right now, these are all the assets that are going to be sitting on top of all of that. And so I still, to this day, I feel very fortunate that we were here this early. I feel fortunate that we have been able to do some of the things that, you know, have survived the past 5 years. And is it slow right now? Yeah, the whole world's slow right now. So it doesn't concern me. I just, you know, you work when everyone's looking one way, you work and look the other, and that's how you make the magic happen. So,
and I want to touch the point on being first, right? Like, and we've had these conversations about, you know, what is the internet, you know, the first email and all that other stuff, right? And the detractors towards that. But somebody was first for that, right? You know, whether it's Yahoo Mail or AOL for the internet, for people, for adoption, right? And so the importance of first, to me, is very important. Chris and I, once again, we've had conversations about being first. Now, I had no idea that this was going on with any of you guys, right? You know what I mean? But then again, you know, it's that, you know, people are doing their things, right? But the thing about being first is, like, for us, what we're doing here is, and we haven't really told people a lot about what we're doing here, because it's important for us to launch what we're doing here at the right time, at the right moment, the right market, environment. And then also kind of get your ducks in a row. Daniel, you had a really good example. Like, you know, you kind of launched a little bit early. So there were certain things you didn't have in place, you know, like a website and all this stuff, your terms of service, terms, conditions. But to hear that you guys are in that lane, you know what I mean? Because I think it's important for not only consumers to feel protected, but also supporters, right? You know what I mean? The people that will either buy into the project, support the project, or ride with you guys. And so it's an important thing right there. I love that you guys are first. There's other competitions out there. So kind of give us your idea on the future of DGC, how you plan to kind of expand. You know, what's the goal here? Daniel said that you guys are going to be on chain. That's great. But kind of give us, like, at least, if you can, some insight on that roadmap.
Okay, yeah. Or you're exactly right. Being first, I think it's an important milestone. It's not the be all and end all, because obviously you're being first, but then it's what you do beyond that. So I think it gives us the opportunity to make groundwork. You know, whether that's to actually build that for others who may come in, to feed off us, or whether we really get that much of a head start. So I think it's definitely got benefit there. You know, we knew it'd be very naive of us if we thought we were going to be the only ones that do this. You know, I think already we know there's one other, which is obviously Vincent's one with BCG, and they're focusing on more scarcity, which is great as a concept, and that will be for some people. And there'll be others that will come and do possibly something similar to us. But, you know, we back ourselves, like Chris said, this isn't a fly-by-night. This is something that takes years of experience to actually perfect. And then once you actually know what you've then got to go and execute it like we are. So I think for us, you know, we're here for the long haul. You know, we've geared up from a financial perspective. Everything is that we can do this now for years. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's our objective. I think with the blueprint we've got and some of the things in our roadmap, there's obviously some things that we're deep in work on that are going to be innovations that we're currently having obviously keep quiet. One in particular I think is going to be groundbreaking, and we're working with some guys in the space that I think we're going to do something that's going to be quite a big eye opener. But going back to some of the earlier points, that our grading census will be live. These being on chain, an app, we're going to have reward programs, because I think what's big for us as well, especially being in the VV ecosystem and as collectors, you know, we understand the importance of being rewarded as a collector and how that feels. So I think we've got some real fun things coming on that front. Giveaways. So one of the things that got leveled, look, I think when we started this, I actually sickly enjoy FUD. People giving it. So I think you'll have
fuels
some,
you, right?
Yeah, you'll have some obviously that will just be instant, you know, appreciating of this, because you take someone like Margin, you know, Biggie Spro's got his X-Men 97 Mint 11, which I'm hugely jealous of. You know, there's people that will just appreciate this because they understand maybe grading in physical, and they've got a first for this to come into the digital landscape. And then you'll get some who will have very valid sort of either concerns or questions, and we want to take all of that on board and listen. And then you'll get maybe a minority that will just FUD for FUD's sake. And they're the people that will get the broccoli gif sent back to them multiple times. You know, I can play that game all day long.
The broccoli, fruitcake.
Yeah. So I think for us, just pretty much just continuously building, understanding, appreciating our vision, and just working with the community that want to use this. Because again, this isn't the service that we're saying is going to be for everyone. There'll be some that love grading, but they might want to grade for another company because they more align with their methodology. But for those that like what we do, then we're going to be here for them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. And I've had a couple of DMs and stuff lately too, and just so everyone knows, like, you'll see on socials right now a lot of great grades, right? There's a few 10s have gone out. There's a lot of, you know, 9.8s and 9.9s showing and this type of thing. But eventually, you might see some 4s come out or some 5.0s. This isn't a 9.0 to 10 grading scale. It's just right now, as you would expect, a lot of people are sending in their best of the best. And so we're getting a chance to grade some really fantastic pieces right now that we ask everybody, are you okay? Do you want to share it? We'd love it if you share it. And of course it goes out, and they just look phenomenal, and you want to share it. But just so everybody knows, if I get any questions, right? It's like, yes, there will be lower grades. Not everything is a 10 or a 9.8, just as in the physical world, right? But also don't forget, there's the options where people can just have these things slapped. And no different in the physical world. We put our comic books in plastic baggies with cardboard backs to protect them. I might buy a hard plastic baggie, right, where they're $30 for 10, and I might put my more special pieces in those. There's no grade on it. It just might look a little better to hold. It might protect the book a little bit more. And then you get into the grading. And so there's a variety of options that, variety of price points for people to participate. We didn't come out of the gate. I know Daniel's mentioned this a few times. We didn't come out of the gate to, retire in a couple of weeks and then turn this thing off. This is about, how do we help the community grow, experience this, enjoy this, price point it early enough so that a lot of people can participate, and it's not going to break anyone's bank really to do this. And so that was another important part. And of course, then understanding the differences between physical and digital grading, right? When you grade something physically, there's shipping, there's often insurance, there's risk of damage, there's risk of loss. The number of things, the time to get it done, there's a number of things that happen that are eliminated when you go digital. Very similar to purchasing a digital asset versus purchasing a physical asset as well. And a big one, of course, we save a lot of space. Right? They look plastic, right? Like they're encased in plastic, but there is no plastic here, right? And so environmentally friendly. And I know this is something that's always down to Vivi's heart, right? They want to be green. They want to be carbon neutral. They want to remove plastics and waste from the world. So maybe we can help that a little bit too, right? And so there's a lot of reasons beyond just, doing what we do. But
I want to add something to that, because I'm a big fan of the Fanable project and space. Let's talk about space, right? We must have sent them 40 books. And I got to tell you, my back wall right here, I can actually see it. There's no boxes in place. And so, and that's the thing, right? And you know what I love about the digital, right? I could show it off. Like, here's a great example. I was on a different island last week. Or no, this wasn't last week. It was the first time I went on my business trip, but same place I went last week. And I showed them the app. And I basically showed them the app because check out these comics I have, right? Now, for them, it's a little bit different. They have an RWA, but at the end, it was digital, right? Yeah. I can't do that if that book's sitting right next to me at home when I'm on another island, right? And what was so cool is when I showed them this, because these are also comic book collectors, because IT guys, they're all the same, right? We all love comic book and comic book heroes. So when they saw that, oh, that's awesome. And then, it's like, they get it, right? The digital, right? They can flex it. They can show it. It's something really cool. We buy iTunes. We buy freaking Amazon Prime. We stream music. Digital products have been around for a while. It's just because we're in Web3 now, the ownership part, right? The Web3 part now has that connection to it, right? But we've all been buying digital products, whether we like it or not. And depending whether or not you realize that, you really, sometimes you can eat the crow on that, right? If you really think about it, right? Because really tell me, how many iTunes songs you got on that iPhone of yours, right? Yeah. Don't lie to me. You must have at least 50 songs, right? Since you were a kid, right? You didn't bug your mom for an iTunes card. So that's what I'm saying.
Kids today, they've got it so easy and good with the music. Like, boy, we had 8 tracks I had to suffer through. Those were enormous. So you can only put like 5 in your car. I came from the
cassette tape era, man.
Yeah, right. Then there was cassettes, right? The pencil when it unwound, and the nightmare, right? And the DJs never stopped talking. So as you tried to hit play and record on your cassette recorder, then he talks in your song, like, oh my God.
They mess up the song, like at the very end. It's like, come on.
Yeah. My mom would walk in my bedroom. What are you doing? I'm like, get out, I'm recording. Right? Like, we lived through some nightmares. And then all of a sudden Napster shows up, and it was like this breath of fresh air. All the IT guys got in on this, right? Like, oh my God, yeah, it's illegal, but blah, blah, blah. And you're just sitting there trying to download every song you could, file sharing with people all over the world. And it was so good.
You know what I used to do? I'm sorry. I
went sued them, right?
But what I used to do is I used to go to the brick and mortars with a memo pad, listen to all the albums there, write them down, then go home and Napster, right?
Right.
And download all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's perfect because that was half the fun, right? So you had this industry that didn't exist before. Now everybody loved music. That wasn't new, right? But you had a new way of distributing it and actually owning it. And rather than immediately jump on and try and engage it, the producers, the managers, some of the bands, the anybody that was going to be impacted by the monetary flow had something to fud about. And so that's when you started seeing bands, like I said, Metallica, right? They start going to lawsuits. They're trying to prevent this from happening. But what happened? You had tens, if not hundreds of millions of people already now network connected, sharing in this system. It was not going to go away. Now, those that decided to look into this and investigate, right? So yeah, iTunes, Apple, they start selling songs for $1. And that was a big deal because I had to pay $20 to get a CD that had 18 songs on it, of which 2 or 3 are the ones that I actually liked, and the rest were junk. And you paid $20. And so now if I only had to buy the 3, that was a great idea. And then all of a sudden you had things like Spotify and all the systems we have today show up to say, well, we can curate, we can amass all the inventory, and then we can just sell subscriptions. You can have as much of this as you want. So today, does anybody think about how Spotify gets that song onto your phone that you can listen to? And you don't think about the tech. You just think about the service and how easy it is. And so
hence the easy button, right?
The easy button. We've talked about this for years, right, my friend? It's like Vivi was easy. It just made this whole system easy, and that's how you were able to onboard a lot of people quickly and then at least participate. And today there's hundreds of thousands of people that have access to these apps and the products within them. But that's the evolution of a system that they picked the winner. They figured out how to make things simple, smooth, and not get too mired down in the technology. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah,
I've just
in terms of progression for us, and it was a DGC is. VV is one place, but I think we are also planning on grading on other platforms, say Candy, that uses numeric numbers, mint numbers to issue to users. So we're not planning to stop on VV. That's basically the goal, that we're slowly going to go in other areas where there could be interest.
Awesome. That was my question. Yeah.
I'm a big DC fan, guys. Like I have a Mint Zero, and they don't do Mint Zero there anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I have a Mint Zero of the first appearance of Robin. So you know what I mean. So it's like that would really look really cool. But I'm a DC fan, so like if you guys can somehow make that happen, man, that would be super cool. I got a few other questions for you guys, but Daniel, I'll be really respectful of your time because I know it's super early. How are you doing, man?
I'm okay. Honestly, I've done that 10-hour drive and I'm cooking. So no, I'm totally fine. And it's Friday. I was going to just pick up Ravens asked a really good question actually, and I don't know if you can see, D. I've just sent you something on email. A DM, which is the first it will be shown actually. So Ravens asked about is it possible to have a sentimental grading system? So we've very much done that. So we feel customization is a big thing with this. So we're very respectful with the actual item itself being, in this case, a stamp or a comic. That's untouched unless it's signed, which we'll come back to at some point. But the actual reverse of the slab is where we can customize. So we've worked with Kid Arcade. He did his first slab the other week, which we turned around within a couple of days, and it's the first official customization. So
that's nice.
Yeah, it's something we do. So to Raven's point now, It doesn't even have to be the grading system. So Chris alluded to it. We've got a clear label that we're going to be bringing out, which can tell its story without actually needing to be the edition number of, per se, being the focal point. Doesn't actually have to be graded, but the owner can tell their own story through the customization. It can be from a description. There's just so many ways you can go with that.
Did you want me to
It
show
could be
it?
it could be their birthday. It could be something of sentimental value, kind of thing.
Oh,
Right. So
that's cool, guys, because I actually have the birth date for my dad for Black Panther's first appearance. And I think I told you this, Chris. Like, that's like the character that resonates the most with him. I mean, if anyone met my dad, you would think that's Black Panther. So, or T'Challa.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and it's it's okay, Cody.
Find it?
Yeah, I have it in my messages. I can blow up the video.
Yeah, I don't know what the quality
in my
comes through on the
messages.
DMs, but and obviously Kid Arcade, I think everyone respects him immensely with his art. So he's the perfect individual to do it for us to have the privilege of doing this first with him. So he's put his own stamp on what I think he describes as his baby, which is his giant size X-Men 222.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
let me
awesome.
Get that.
I saw a question from Shawnee. He was asking, could you guys grade his Kid Arcade NFTs?
We can grade anything that's got. In fact, we can grade anything on Clear Label, but anything that's got an edition numbering system, whether it's an NFT or not, so we can do Neon Ichiban, for example, that are not NFTs, then we can grade. So when we launched, we had other platforms such as Candy, Panini, we had Pudgy Penguins, we had a few get in touch with us, and ultimately we're not even really in those communities as such as like collectors ourselves. But we're purposely focusing on Vivi right now. We've got a great relationship with the team now. We respect them, and we think they've been the key innovators in this space. So that's going to be our starting point. But if it's a Kid Arcade,
I love that question because I would love to grade, like, say, our NFTs, right? The ones that D and I made, just for sentimental value, right? Because that's something that has come to pass. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead, Daniel.
No, I was going to say, I think even though we're not going to go to other platforms yet, I think if it's individuals in our VV ecosystem like yourself, then grading your NFTs is an absolute given. That can be done.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I think Shawnee had another question earlier too about like the number of grades you can submit. So I know right now there's an introductory pricing that we're running through to the end of the year, and I think we said that we were capping it at 10. I think, Daniel.
Here we go.
Per person.
Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, you can sit in. There's no cap overall. It's just on the intro pricing. We're going to keep that to 10 for and that, I think that's December 31st that runs out, and we can share that too. It's I don't have it offhand. It's $9, I think, is the entry point for just a slab. Yeah.
So the way we've started this is that it's very easy for us to go one way, go higher. It's just not our style. So we want to do this where it's fairly got a pricing, but it's something that everyone can get involved with. So $9, which can be via fiat or OMI, would do the grade and the grading card, and then it would be $15 if someone's going to do the slab as well. So it's and there's going to be plenty of giveaways we'll be doing in terms of grading services. So even if people want to sit on the sideline but maybe have a chance to do something like this, Martian's already won 3, I think, believe it or not. So so again, it's a good way.
I'm not surprised.
People can still just dip their toe in whilst we're early. But that's our price point.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is one of Martian's there. That Avengers 90. So he's got the Avengers 1 edition 1962, which is an outstanding comic, outstanding edition number, because that 1962 is the FA of Thor, Hulk, and Ant-Man. So a beautiful piece. And I think the other thing here as well, not to go on too much of a tangent, but with the way the gradings will work, like Chris said, we can grade every edition number. So Avengers 1, where there's 10,000 editions, we can grade every single one of those. Obviously, some will be random and might be a 0.5, but some will be higher, some will be medium. We run the census for Silver Surfer 1. So we built a catalogue for that as like an example run. So when we take the common, because we grade per variant, so the common edition, the common variant of Silver Surfer 1, there was only 34 grades at 9.0 and above, and there wasn't any 10.0s the way we use our grading system. So I think the more that evolves and people see that, it'll probably give a greater understanding of how our methodology works and how our sort of slabbing system works with our labels and whatnot.
I got a question on digital. In the works, you guys thinking about that? I mean, for people like me that still like to collect things and have it in my hand, like I can see that it's like a really cool keychain, or like, it'd be something cool you could put on your wall, picture frame. Thoughts about that?
It's not. We haven't yet. That's probably one of the only things that's not on our roadmap at the moment. But it's
Okay.
yeah. No, I think it's not as much yet. But we know there's evolution to all of this. Yeah.
They're starting off with the digital side.
Yeah.
And then
Digital
using
first, right? If you have that graded, because a lot of people will want to get these graded to pair with their physical graded items already. And one of the things that we would probably hope is going to happen, as we've seen happen in Vivi, is that maybe you've never had a physical asset graded before. And this is a real easy entry into that space where you understand the excitement. You've got something to show off. And then all of a sudden you realize, I got a few pieces in my basement or under the stairs or in a long box somewhere. And then now you're going through and like, well, maybe I'll try submitting this. And, if we can help CGC grab a few more graded copies, slabs, why not? I think overall it's good for the space. It's what I write about and Go Collect all the time. It's not trying to replace. We're trying to enhance and improve enjoyability. That's it. It's not a real hard ask. We're not demanding, right? And we always talk about, to the fudders out there, right? The Todd McFarlane, you don't like broccoli, just walk on by, but don't go complain to the store manager, why are you selling broccoli, right? It's the exact same thing, right? Nobody has to do this. But to your point earlier, Hinano, right? There's a market, there's a desire for this. And if we can help scratch that itch, well, why not? We're having fun doing it. That's the
point, guys.
That's the point.
The main thing.
Right?
Yeah,
we really love that.
Yeah, and not to romanticize too much on it and sound too sentimental, but like even what Manus, he got a giveaway sent over his today, and he was blown away by it. It was one he really, really loved the comic anyway, and it was his birthday. It was like double whammy, and to just be part of that experience is great. But I have to stop. Here's Kid Arcade's.
Yeah, that's amazing. The back, that's his own artwork.
Can you pause on it?
Unbelievable! Look at that.
You got something says butter or something.
First appearance of butter. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
It really looks beautiful, and it's so well personalized. And again, this is an advantage when Vivi doesn't put the outside cover on the asset. Now we've got some work we can.
Is he not located in Vegas?
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Tattoo artist, I think, as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see him. We're gonna see him in like 20 days if
That's good.
Oh, I'd love to meet him, and you guys are in IRL, of course.
Well, we're gonna make it up to Canada.
In Vegas too. You gotta hook her up too.
Yeah, and I have to give a massive shout out to Kid Arcade as well. He went and put the post out last Saturday night. I think it was Saturday, which scared the bejeebers out of me because it was a picture of DGC, a devil. Yeah, and I was thinking, Chris and I both scrambled and looked to see if Swagglehoss had ditched us online, and unfortunately he hadn't.
I don't know if you saw it. It was a picture of Mickey Swagglehouse. He's just.
Oh no, yeah, it's arcade, yeah. Arcade.
It was brilliant. Like I said, I think we just appreciated real honest feedback, and I was in on the the chats in his stream, and he said multiple times, "I'm trying to FUD, I can't." Like for him, this is something that he gets because he appreciates obviously special mints and whatnot. But yeah, the shout out just to give it coverage, and yeah, we're having some chats. There's more to come on this, but that piece there, just look, I love Giant Size X-Men. It's one of my favorites, but I would want to own that like that. You know, that to me is like it celebrates the art. So,
and oh man, like here, D. Before I go, because I talk too much, I'm gonna pass the baton to you. Because go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't have it. I'm just admiring this artwork from Arcade, and that's really cool that someone can submit something like this and have it digitally graded. That's really cool.
And that is going to be Kid Arcade's the first ever person to, I want to say, have his
let's go
artwork in a digital slab like that. That for me is pretty good. So
yeah.
And to kind of go back to what you're saying, Daniel, about like why you guys are doing this, and kind of like really have a whole rounded description on what the DGC is. We've been at this for almost an hour and a half. I think the audience has gotten a really clear idea of who's behind the curtain, who you folks are, why you guys do what you do, the fact that you guys also have regular personal lives, the fact that you guys are really trying to be creative. And like you said, you're not trying to change the system, you're trying to enhance it. And you guys are also doing things like this. It's important for people to see this. That was our whole entire goal that that both D and I wanted to do today, was to really make sure people understood who you guys were. I mean, Chris, he already knows. He's like family to us, right? Even Denis. And then Daniel, I'm sure one day we're going to meet up at a pub or somewhere, and we're going to have a good hug, and we're going to trade some comic books. That's what this is about, guys. This is really about this right here, the nostalgia re-spark that we always talk about. And I think this is a very beautiful thing that you guys are doing. I'm really happy you guys came on to share some insight. And I really hope the audience got a lot of value from this conversation.
Yes.
Thank
That was great
get
the backstory. Sorry, go ahead.
There's various category, of course, out of this process. So I call them silos, and technically they're almost like fandoms on their own. You got the historic, you got the key, you got the mint number, the traditional mint number that I guess we all thought would start from 1 to say 60,000, where the lowest mint is worth, it would be graded the highest, and also the last mint would be graded the highest. And so I stick to the historic category or the key category. Some people would prefer to have like palindromes. They would kind of go a different category. So we recognized early that in order for this to work, that it needed to have different silos, which each silo would have a 10, of course. So on a particular comic, you could have 5 or 6 10s, but they're not 10s graded in the same category. So just be aware of that. That's kind of my take on that. But I call them silos because they're kind of on their own. And some people would prefer a mint silo. A 10 in the mint silo for them would be worth, in their eyes, valued more in their eyes, more value than what's in historic. It depends on who you're talking to, but we did it in a way so that at least we recognize that there is different type of collectors, right?
And I think
you don't want to downgrade somebody that's like, we always use Clever Jerk as the example because he's just so good at this, and then he's vocal with it on socials, right? Like the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and the sets that he puts together, the 5 4s for Star Wars and whatnot, and doesn't necessarily mean that the number has high historical value, to Denis' point, but it has incredible fandom value. So that might not be a historic grade. That might be a reference grade or a mint grade for a particular release year, a movie when it comes out, or the first appearance of a character. There's someone earlier, I think it was the Mad Conqueror, you mentioned something about 1961 should be an enormous grade, and yes, we would agree with that. Imagine having the Fantastic Four 1961 or something related to that. That's magical, but it might not be a 10.0 across all categories, because it might just be, hey, I've got a Fantastic Four, whatever, 54 issue, right? So 1961 is going to be very important because that was the launch of the franchise, or the title. But to that specific book, sometimes we have to be very cautious on how we're grading specifics. And so it's a really big point that Denis brings up. That's part of what goes into our process when we're trying to put numbers to certain things. And sometimes someone will say, well, I really like the category color of that, so that goes really great with the art of the cover of the book I'm having graded. I would actually, can you just grade it into that? So there's a lot of variety that we can work with, and certainly go back and forth to the customers as well and say, here's how we'll put this together. So.
You're muted, Hina.
Let me say something about the Mad Conqueror right here. Before we started the show, guys, I had a conversation with the team here, and I kind of told them that we had some advice from a legal perspective. I want to shout out to this guy, because if it wasn't for this guy, I don't think we would have been set straight. So shout out to the Mad Conqueror right here. I just want to say that really quick.
Yeah, and can I just add, do you know he donated $50 as well?
Yes. Love him for that. He has been a supporter of our channel since we started.
Yeah.
I've met him in Vegas, both him and his wife. They're lovely people. I consider him family. Shout out to this guy.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
So, and then also shout out to the comic guy. I just seen down here below. He had a really good. You guys were able to answer a bunch of questions for him. So that's what this is about, guys. We want to clear any air right here. And any questions, please, right now. I got 2 more questions for you guys, and then that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys want to also promote anything, we will get to that hour. Anything else for these gentlemen right here? Other than us, we could probably talk here forever, but I think Daniel needs some sleep soon.
Agreed.
He's going on a no sleep marathon, I heard. So what's another 24 hours for him? Yeah. He's got it.
Easy.
No, I feel like the questions I did have, or even like ones I didn't think of, people were asking in the chats, or you guys, just brought it up. I did have one, but I believe it was Denis that answered it, was, stepping out of the box outside of VV to go other different platforms. And I love to hear that about, potentially Candy later on, because I do love the DC books, DC storylines. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a Wonder Woman, comic book. Maybe.
Yeah, and we obviously we're great friends with Tactical. Tactical's probably the biggest collector over there, and the moment we launched, he was a supporter of ours. It's just a case of just waiting on that front. But I do have a question actually. My question's for the community. It's so when we launched this, I initially went out because it was timing. We had to announce when Chris and Denis was on, so it went out that DGC. I'm a co-founder, and the rest are going to be announced in due course.
Yeah. And
there was a lot of heat and whatnot. The moment Chris gets announced, everyone loves it. So that's my question. So what's wrong with me? Or what's wrong with
Nothing.
Legitimacy.
I think I answered that question, at least for myself. I think when anything that's new, Daniel, comes out and there's only one person, you're the punching bag, regardless of what that is, right? And I'm sure there's other people that was in your shoes as well. I think if we did the same thing, right? If it was just probably my face. If it was Dee's face, it'd probably be a whole different story. But if it was my face, I would probably have lumps right now. So I think that's all it is. Because people they don't like uncertainty, and it's not just one person. They want to know what's the whole kit and caboodle driving the whole engine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I barring a couple of serial fudders that we knew would probably raise their head anyway. I think there was just so much there has been and there still is great feedback, and we get it. You know, if someone was doing this and it wasn't us, I would be questioning their credibility or saying, how can they dictate what my edition number might grade? But you know, it has to start somewhere. And like we said earlier, this is our unique concept. There'll be others in the future, but you know, we're going to give it our go.
I love it.
At the,
And I
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, not everybody have to grade their item. For all I know, there could be some AF-15 in someone's room, in someone's house that's never been graded, and they don't care about having it graded. So, an SR, we all know an SR how scarce they are. They maybe not be that high on a graded scale, depending on the number, but it's still something that is valuable. And we have many collectors, including many, many whales, who are collecting SRs only. We're not trying to devalue what they collected. I would rather, if I could have all SRs, I'd be the first one to go for it, but I can't. But does that mean that particular mint number is more value than an SR? No, it just all depends on, you know, we're not here to establish a value. We're just establishing a grade, and it's in the eyes of the beholder to decide whether it's valued, and if somebody wants to buy, are we going to help creating indirectly kind of a value on things? Maybe, but it's the user that decides whether, you know, they see it that way or they don't, and that's fine, right?
Yeah, it's a good point on that, Denis. And to those that haven't read it yet, I put a Go Collect article out today, and it was a very interesting one for me because it was written by David Yu. And so he did an interview with a collecting website, and I read it, and I said, David, I sent him a note, and I said, I don't know if you're going to get this or not, but I would love to repurpose this for the Go Collect community, because this is at the heart of all of this. To Denis' point, value is really in the eye of the beholder. And what David spoke about here is that let's not think about the technology. Let's not think about the hype. Let's not think about the FUD and all the stuff that comes with anything new. Let's think about the simple fact that if you're a fan of DC Comics or Wonder Woman or Bored Apes or Mickey Mouse and Disney, it doesn't matter. You collect the fandom. You get behind your brand because you love it, and it's got something to do with nostalgia respark that reconnects you. And today you're able to hold these things in your phone through a digital means. And he wrote such a compelling story about this. And I thought, I got to put this back out. And so he said, yes, please go ahead and do this. And so if you haven't had a chance to read it, thanks for putting this up, D. But it goes right to your point, Denis. You're going to hold value on things that nobody can understand but you. And sure, there's thousands of people that love Spider-Man. There's thousands of people that love Batman. Millions, really, I should say. But it's why you love it. That's the connecting piece. And if that means that you can collect it digitally, you can collect it physically, you can have a statue, you can have a comic book, you can have a VHS tape, Comics and Crypto, you shout out, you know, these guys grading their VHS tapes and all that kind of stuff. That's just collecting. At the end of the day, it's just a collecting industry, and we're offering a few different ways to go about and do this. And that's why it's so much fun. And so many new people can come into the space and experience things that they may not have done before. So not every market in the world had comic book access. You know, simple things like this. If we can help break into that, and again, go back to grow the excitement, give people a little more reason to participate, why not? So yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Eloquently said, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Is my Canadian showing? Yeah.
No, man. No, this has been great, you guys. I just got one more question for you guys. Other than I can see the passion, you guys feel good, and I'm almost certain all four of you, we're not counting you out, Scotchy. This is like a aha moment where you're like, huh, 6 months ago, I never thought, well, maybe not 6 months, a year ago, I never thought I'd do this. 3 years ago, I'm sure you never thought you were going to do this, right? When I was talking to Chris and Denis 3 years ago, Daniel, I never thought I'd still be here, by the way. You know what I mean? I thought we were going to be like one and done, right? Like, in fact, when Chris And when Chris actually said, "Oh, we'll come on," I'm like, "Oh my gosh, somebody actually wants to come and talk to us. That's like really cool, right?" You know what I mean? So, but you know, I've met him in Maui. We've had really good relations with Denis. We've had great conversations. We all support each other. You know, from Osman to like all the Web V spaces. This has just been a phenomenal thing throughout the 3 to 2.5 years that we've been involved in this. And I don't think I'd be anywhere else than here with all my friends doing this right now and being a part of this opportunity. This is a really good opportunity. We are pioneers in this space. We're trailblazing, and we're trying to make a name for ourselves, whether it's first, last, or just consistent, right? It's just something we're trying to do here. And thank you so much for giving us your time. My last question for you guys is very simple. And that's you can ask us anything you want, but I won't give you my social security number.
Well, there goes my question. How about your visa number? Yeah.
Well, I'll think of a question, but there's just the VHS thing Chris brings up there. I only realised this week that there's a shop in my local town, and they are still doing VHS rentals.
Wow.
No way.
And it's not something that's come back as a fad. This guy has been he's got an article on BBC that I looked up, and he's been doing this since the very get-go. So coming back to some of the things we're doing here about consistency and still being it, like that guy, I have to go in there and have a look, but he's testament to it. VHS rentals. That's
pretty cool.
That is nostalgia respark in itself. Because guys, so D and I, when we first met, Friday nights, and I don't know if you're like D and I, but when you go into like a Blockbuster or a VHS store, and it was DVDs, right? They went from VHS to DVDs, but specifically just going into the store to go rent movies, we'd spend 2 hours in there because there'd be so much stuff, or you'd run into people that you know from like your town or whatever. Like I remember one time D and I was just talking story, because you know how well that goes, Chris. And next thing you know, it's like, excuse me, sir, it's closing time. You gonna pick a movie? It's like, so
well, I've got my question for you. It can be a fun one, because I remember this as a kid. Can you remember one or two particular VHS that you remember sitting on the shelves, and it's ingrained in your mind for good or bad?
Yeah. So my mom was my stepmom was an Alien with Kim Basinger and Dan Aykroyd. And I remember it because and here's what's the cool part, right? My video store was also my comic store. So I was always in there, guys.
Cool.
I bring up a big point about like, I grew up in a town, because I'm Hawaiian, right? And we were pretty much in a very mixed bag over here, but like, you weren't cool if you were collecting comics or playing with Ninja Turtles or doing it or Transformers. You just weren't cool. So if you did any of that stuff at school, you'd either get beat up or picked on, right? So we have to have a place to hang out. And so that's why I hung out. And the place was called Specialty Videos. You walk right in and they have like that showcase aisle, right? And I just remember, and I don't know why, Daniel, that video was always there. And you know it was always there because when the sun hits it, the freaking cover's all faded. But my stepmother was my stepmother was an Alien, right? With Kim Basinger. You remember that? John Lovitz and all that. It was such a good movie. That is ingrained in my brain as the Blockbuster VHS movie that every time I walked in there, that movie was in there when I got Spawn. You know what I mean? Spawn number 1. Right. Because I miss Youngblood, guys. When Youngblood came out, that was the first release from Image, and it sold out, and I had to settle with the freaking second print with the stupid gold borders that would fade. So, yeah. I hope that answered your question, man.
What about you, D? Can you remember yours?
I don't remember what was like on the shelf, but I do remember my first two. My first couple videos that I saw on VHS when I moved to Hawaii, because where I'm originally from, there was like one person in our little village had one small TV, and we would all go to their house and corral around this one small TV and watch it in black and white. So when I moved to Hawaii, my first two VHSs that I remember watching was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze, and Terminator, Judgment Day. Oh, and Back to the Future. Yeah. So those are like always on repeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
those. And then my mom got like other other videos I probably wasn't supposed to watch, like us when you were younger.
That's what I remember
Boomerang.
was the curtain in the back corner with a big neon
Yeah.
adults only.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, what's there today? Yeah. So those are the three movies I remember watching, like my introduction to like real movies here in Hawaii, and I love those, and I think that's why I'm like I love, like, I've always been like, when people ask like what are you looking forward to drop on VV, it's always been Terminator and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we got one of those, so could the other one possibly come next? Terminator.
Well,
That's
biggest
my next
bros
thing.
got Die Hard. That'd be kind of cool too.
I have a
Oh, Die
question
Hard.
for you guys.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Does your daughter or friends of yours were part of the TV crew for Chief of War by any chance?
Yes, not our
Yes.
daughter, but our goddaughter.
Ah,
Oh.
And our
And other family
goddaughter's
members. Yeah.
our goddaughter's in 8 or 9 scenes, and our goddaughter is actually in the first 10 seconds when it starts.
As a kid? As a kid?
She's no. She's how old is she, D? She's in her
She's
20s.
20.
Okay, so she's
So
an
like in the
adult
open sea through
looking.
Chief of
Okay.
War,
Yeah.
there's like the armada of canoes, right? Or
Yep.
Vaas,
Mhm.
right? She's
Yep.
on one of them. Yeah. Like right at the
Nice.
beginning, you see her. I'm like, I'm so proud, by the way. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm like, oh my God, there she is, right? You know what I mean? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The answer is yes. We've also have family members in there. Now, if you guys seen the season finale of that, I wasn't a fan of it, but like for the most part, when that series started, I want to say episode 1 through 5, historically accurate.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was good.
Historically accurate. Yeah, even them sliding down, if you've gotten that far, sliding
Yeah,
down.
on the Hodua.
down
Was
the
that a
floor.
real thing?
That's
In
a
the
real
game?
thing.
We have
Yeah.
one in this
Oh.
house.
We have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real sport. Yeah.
So,
Here it's
yeah.
done like in Canada, it's done like on toboggan and face first, skeleton style.
Yeah, that's a funny question. Yeah, no, in fact, my goddaughter, she's so funny. She calls Jason Momoa Jason Mimosa because he's very Hollywood. Like he would stall the entire set if his tent didn't have AC or he wouldn't show up or something like that. She would bring that up, right? So I think I can say that, D. We're small potatoes. Jason Mimosa
Yeah.
don't watch us. So
Jason Mimosa. Aloha Kakayaka. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good
Awesome.
question.
Mike,
Good
Awesome.
in light of the fact that it was another good day for Canada, pizza. Are we having pineapple on our Hawaiian pizza?
Oh, you had to. He
You
had
went
to do
there.
it, man.
You went there.
He had to go there. You
I don't know if we can come visit you anymore, Chris.
Oh, I can't wait.
I love a good poke.
That'd be great.
Oh yes, I love.
That's
Well,
fun.
I love food. I love poke. I have had pineapple pizza, but yeah, I
Did you
prefer not to have it that way. I prefer to have everything else on it except pineapple,
Yeah, it's the best.
and lots of hot.
So
sauce.
you've been going to Vegas a couple times in the last couple of years, right? Where's your go-to
Just
place to eat in Vegas? Is there a place that, oh my gosh, I gotta go there because they supply it in industrial quantity?
I haven't
But-
found that place yet. I've heard
Oh,
about
there's
it.
so many things that I see on my
There's
Facebook that pops out about
Yeah.
diners in Vegas. Oh my
the
God.
Hotel. It's great. It's old school. They put the pizzas up on the metal stand, and they're huge, and they're kind of like New York style. They're a little bit thin crust, but covered in toppings. And they had pineapple available for the pizzas. It was
We usually have pineapple in juice, Chris.
This is true.
Oh, I'm sure.
Um,
Side
No,
of a
that-
daiquiri glass, right? Yeah, I know.
yeah, specialty juices, right? Guys, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to get the giveaway ready. And Smart Buy, you asked the question, what is a true service? So today, we're giving away one of our services because we are actually a bona fide business. We are a limited liability company now. So we are going to give away either 3 free songs where you'll have the commercial rights to that we'll work with you on creating. So if you are somebody that loves music, we can create any genre. We can make it sound any way. If you have lyrics that you ever wanted to be performed before, we can do that for you. We'll work with you. Or if you're a content creator watching right now, or someone that has something they want to promote, we will create an ad for you for free. Now, these are services that obviously will be monetarily later, but we will work with you to create that ad. And if you've seen our ads either on virtual radio or on the timeline, then that's the quality you're going to get right there. So those are the things that we're offering to either content creators or the public, the community. And if you want to enter, all you got to do is type in hashtag the future of content. Guys, this has been awesome. Your final words, elevator pitch. Daniel, I'm sure after this, you're really going to just knock out. So let's go with you first, my friend.
No, I just first of all just thank you for obviously hosting. You know, it's just a pleasure being here. So I'm not going to complain about it being 4:57 a.m.
Damn.
Yeah, but I have to say, Biggest Bros 3 movies, these VHS are outstanding. Back to the Future, Die Hard, and Coming to America. I think that's better than me trying to shield the DGC. I think I'll just take that. And yeah, but no, I think that scene in Coming to America always gets. I might have to watch it again. The one we're in the club and they're out on the pool on some dates. I don't know if you've seen. You must have seen the film. Yeah. You seen Coming to America?
Yes.
Where
Coming to America.
Yeah, something along the lines of I want to tear you apart and your friend too. I can't put on the voice.
Arsenio Hall was in that scene, right?
That scene kills me every time.
That's funny.
But no, thanks again.
Yeah, Osmond does a really good impression of Eddie Murphy in that. You know, I'm coming to America. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Denny, final words, my friend.
Well, I can't wait to see where we'll be in 6 months to a year from now. We have stuff in the pipeline already kind of brewing, but it's too early, as probably you guys, the same way with True Media.
Aren't we rugging in 6 months? Or is we keeping that quiet?
Yeah.
This is a soft rug, right? Not a hard rug.
Yeah.
Soft rug.
Well, if things are lining up, I'm sure we'll have some, announcements or whatever. But it's all about collaboration in the end. When we do things, like when you do things. So we'll see where it goes. But we're just as Daniel and Chris and Leo would say, we're going full steam ahead, so there's no stopping us.
I love that, guys.
Love that.
He's whispering.
Hi. Hi.
Whoa.
You gotta come now.
Hi.
Hi. Long time no see.
How are you?
There's
Good.
Good.
I'll watch. That's right.
Good to see you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Good to see
awesome.
your face.
Yeah, Chris, I was gonna send you this picture because I was at my client's house last week, and they live in North Kohala, and it faces the beach where you and I first met on the opposite side of the island. I'm like, dang, that's Kihei right there.
That's Kihei. Oh, I missed that trip. We got to get back. We have to get back. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, the DGC Con. You come down here for the DGC Con.
Well, yeah, we might have to have our AGM there at some point. We'll figure it out. Right?
Yeah.
We're gonna meet at Aulani.
I really want to grade our Real Uncommon podcast pass. That is something. Now that I know you guys have the sentimental grading, that is something that I would love to grade and maybe just give to like one of our supporters. We don't do the NFTs anymore, but like something like that right there feels to me. So like, if that's some of the things you guys are doing, well, hey man, I love that. Yeah. I think it resonates with a lot of people. I think having variety of resonation is great. Comic books, independence, you know what I mean? Sentimental value, adding memories, right? Like I just told you about my dad. I think that is something really cool that you guys are doing. And I don't think anyone really kind of knew about that until today. And so once again, I really hope everyone had value. If you guys have any questions at all, reach out to these guys right here. They're really open. If you have any questions for us, you can reach out to us as well. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Daniel, thank you so much for giving us your time. I know it's super early. I appreciate you. Tell your family we said thank you, as well as you, Denis. It has been ages, my friend. Please don't be a stranger. We have a revolving door here. You know this. Come back anytime. And Chris,
I know.
you already know, brother. So, enough
We're
said.
getting back to that island in some way, shape, or form. You wait. So yeah.
That's right. D, anything else before we let these guys go and we run the giveaway?
So I did put up all the links for all your guys' X profiles, including Scotchy, and for the Go Collect blog as well. So the listeners and watchers, if you guys are interested, please go click on those links. They are safe, and just stay in contact with the awesome panel up here, as well as Scotchy, who was not able to make it today. But yeah, just thank you, fellas, for your time and coming on and just talking with us, and get a better sense of what you guys are up to and what your project is all about. And yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever you guys have in store for the future. But congrats to you guys. Yeah, love it.
And thank you
And
so
with
much.
that being said, let's run this giveaway, eh?
Good luck.
Oh, look at you, Canadian.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, it's rubbing off. Next, you're gonna be eating pineapple pizza.
Good luck.
Good luck, everybody.
All right, there's 7. I'm gonna draw it. Good luck. Good luck.
It's
Good
gonna
luck.
be
Good
very
luck.
interesting.
Let's see. I didn't see you enter, Smart Buy.
I didn't see
you
either.
next time.
The comic guy. Oh,
Okay.
awesome. This is awesome, you guys, because I know this guy loves music. I know he does.
Oh
So,
yes.
comic guy, it's your lucky day, my friend. You
And
send
add it
us
to
a
your
message.
playlist.
What do you want, man? You get 3 songs from us. You get the commercial rights. We'll make whatever you want. Reach out in the DMs, my friend. Big congratulations to this guy. I met him in Vegas. Super cool guy, and he's also an LCS owner as well as McFarlane Toys digital mod. Shout out to the comic guy.
Yes.
He
Love
closed
that.
the show out.
Awesome.
No, thank you guys for just being here and spending your pre-weekend, or it's weekend now, right? It's Friday. So I appreciate you guys for
It's
being here.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's already Saturday for
Yeah.
Daniel.
He's turning the
already
lights
in
down. D, look, he's ready to go
he's
to bed.
already in dark mode. He's in dark mode.
No, I'm gonna slow roll into bed here. So.
No, just appreciate you guys.
Hey,
Good to
bro.
see your faces and just talk story. And yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate everyone for being in the audience, supporting and asking your questions. I'm glad that the fellas up on the panel were able to answer them. And yeah, just really excited for you guys and what you guys have in store.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
just one
Thank
last
you.
thing. We're on. I will plug actually. We're on 24/7's channel on Wednesday to do the giveaway of
Nice.
the signed, graded Evermind 1 comic, which was signed by Daniel Wu and Sean Chen. They signed it at New York Comic Con.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be live on their channel on Wednesday to do the giveaway live, and that will be transferred from, unfortunately, my collection to whoever wins it. So, the guys at 24/7 are unbelievable. Cole Choi, the obviously owner of the publisher, but they're really good guys over there.
Do you remember what time?
Do you remember
Or
what
is it
time,
the
Chris?
post?
Was it? I believe it was 8 a.m. PST.
I've got
Okay.
it. We got to confirm. I've got it 10 a.m. PST, but
Yeah, that's the one. That's going to be that one.
it's 10
Okay.
a.m. Pacific.
Okay.
So
10 a.m. Pacific. Awesome.
All right.
On Wednesday. Yes, if you guys are interested, go check that out on Wednesday. This coming Wednesday. Awesome.
awesome, beautiful book,
Thank you.
deliciously signed. So yeah,
Delicious.
Awesome, guys.
Good design. Like that.
pineapple pizza in my head now. So
There you go, with some pineapple
There
juice.
you go.
Before we go, D, what is on the docket for next week? Can you give anybody a sneak peek of what's going on Halloween week at the TRU Universe over here?
On Halloween week, stay tuned.
Oh,
There you go. There you go. There you go.
No, we're thinking to what we talked about in the meeting, right? What we talked about.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
we
what you
talked
want me to
about
share?
that, but she doesn't want to tell you the guests that were coming on. So you guys gotta have to wait until you see the schedule. So either
That's right.
Trudy will be back or Jenna will be back. We'll have to see, you guys. But
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Stay
gonna have
tuned
a
for the
fun
Sunday
week
Spin.
next week. I think we're gonna try to do Aloha Friday early because it's Halloween that day and we got to go trick or treating. So we'll have
Yeah.
to figure that out. But thank you everyone for watching right now. If you're watching now live or on the replay, we really appreciate everyone for tuning in every single time. Follow everyone on the panel on their socials. Go follow the DGC. And guys, if you don't know what's going on and you just showed up now, rewind and get the alpha. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Until the next time. Aloha.
Aloha, guys.
Uh,